Good afternoon, it's the Laundry Chef back to give you a little taste of what I do. I am going to be doing a Jamaican dish today that a neighbor of mine from 20 some odd years ago gave me. She was Jamaican born and I've tweaked it a little, but my family's getting ready to go off to Jamaica next week, and I am looking forward to giving them a little taste of tradition before they go. So here we go. Today we're going to be doing Jamaican curry chicken. A lovely, lovely dish. And here we have onions, shallot, potatoes, rice, garlic, all of the seasonings, and a little Tony's to add a little chick to it. And of course the chicken and some coconut cream. You can use either coconut milk or coconut cream. I like the cream because it gives a little thickness to it. And of course, vegetable oil. You can use other oils, but it's recommended to use the vegetable oil. You don't want to overpower. And of course, chicken broth. And once again, you don't have to go expensive on any recipe. As long as you do the seasonings and the herbs and everything right, you've got it. You don't have to go expensive. You can do Dollar Tree, you can do Costco, you can do Smart Final, you can do Ralph's. Whatever you decide to do. I'm a budget person, so chicken from Costco, potatoes, Smart and Final, and we're going to start off with the rice because the rice takes the longest. Interestingly enough, this is a quick meal. Here we go. We got 2 cups of rice, and we're going to rinse this off, okay? And you put it on the stove with your inch of water, okay? And you get it going, you get a nice heat under there, and you're going to bring it to a boil first. Well, at least a simmer. It doesn't have to be a full boil. And then you put the lid up. But we'll do that in a minute. We'll do that in a minute when it gets boiling. Now we're going to start the piece de resistance. I like to start with my smaller items first, chopping them up and getting them ready. So I have ginger. I've always mixed these up, but I got it right today. Shallot and scallions and yellow onion, and I already said ginger. And I have my garlic over here, freshly cut by me. I always put it in the Cuisinart and chop it up fresh. You don't have to stand there and chop it. Tiny little chop, 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 chop. You can throw it in the Cuisinart and have a nice bunch of fresh garlic. Time to check the rice. And I'm going to tell you, 20 minutes. I learned this in culinary school. You put the water in, you put an inch of water above, and you simmer it for 20 minutes. Perfect rice every time. No burning, no browning. That's it. Righty, yes indeed. Oh God, that smells good. I love the smell of fresh cooked rice. Here we go, all done. We even had 2 minutes to spare. Okay, now, back to the wonderful onion. And here we go. We're going to start with the yellow onion. And we're only doing this, the original recipe did not call for yellow onions, but we added because my children are very particular about onions. They adore onions for some reason. So we have 3 forms of onion for this, but you can use only the shallots and the scallions if you want. I recommend using at least a little bit of the yellow onion because I find it tastes better. I've done it both ways. The original way that she gave it to me and this way. I have another couple of surprises that I added to the recipe as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But right now, and you don't have to be particular about how you chop them. Just get them into small. Okay, sorry for the intermission, but my daughter was choking to death, so we had to make a stop.
Sorry, Mom!
And I wanted you to know, I only chopped the onions. There was no specific direction or size or whatever that was necessary for this recipe. So I just chopped according to just getting into small chewable pieces. Now we're moving on to the shallot.
And if you don't like onions, don't add them.
That is true. If you are not an onion lover, don't bother with the yellow onion. But we necessarily need it. Now, the shallot, you should always slice a shallot very thinly. It's a delicate onion. Strong, yet delicate. Here we go. Little purple haze for you. Jimmy. There we go. I love me some music. There should be and will be music behind this. Also, once you get it sliced thin, then you can chop it down into smaller pieces. This is going to give a nice flavor. Okay. There we go. And then, moving on, onion, to the scallions. There we go. We're just going to do 2 of them because we have gotten a little carried away with onion. There we go. And these are pretty good size. See, you get a nice little rounds of the white, but you want to go into the green. You know what? It's a sad reality for me, or for you, I should say, is that I don't cry with onions. unless, oh my God, I have had some white onions that were insane. Oh my God, that made me cry, and I couldn't believe it. I had water pouring down my face. Now there's all kinds of crazy methods. You can go online and find some work for some people, some work for other people, some don't work at all. You can refrigerate your onions, that helps. Now I will say that. I have found, and frozen onions. I know, it's like, what you can do is you can cut them up, cry, and then put them in the freezer. And then you can pretend later on when you're making the recipe that you didn't cry. Now here we are. Here's our 3 onions. Now we're moving on to ginger. Oh, wonderful ginger. I'm always surprised ginger isn't red, considering the name. Well, that's not true. I'm a real auburn, but I am not a true ginger like I am right now. I'm Scarlett O'Hara. The Scarlet Chef. The wandering Scarlet Chef. You know, as we age, we need a little color, we need a little spike in our life, because life gets a little boring. I suppose that happens even when you were young. You youngsters over there are sitting here watching an old lady cook. Okay, here we go. Ginger, ginger, ginger. Now ginger, we are going to chop it finely. And it is phenomenally a wonderful flavor. But yes, you have to chop it. You have to chop it, and you have to chop it with a sharp. You make sure your knives are sharp. It's important to keep your knives sharp so that you can get it as tiny as possible. But you don't have to crush it. Now some people actually grate it, but my God, when you grate it, all the strings come out and it's kind of ugly. So I chop finely. Now here we go. I've got the chicken. That's the first step. Here you go. Now I've got some laid out here. You always want to cut your chicken in a length. You lay out your chicken breast to where it's lengthwise. And you cut it lengthwise because you want to keep your meat tender. And this is the direction it's going to give you tender. If you cut it from the side, it's going to be stringy and tough. So this is nice. It's even tender to cut. There you go. And then, now you take it and you cut it. Good. You take off the fatty pieces. There we go. And you cut it in small chunks. But you already have cut it the lengthwise, so you don't have to worry that you're cutting it widthwise now. You need a little Marley in the background. There you go. Okay. There you go. Now this is enough for a nice sized little family. At least 5 or 6 people can eat off of that. Now, this is where I do differently than my friend did. I got tired a while back, several years, and with 5 children and several grandchildren, I got tired of putting everything in separately. So I throw everything together, all in one bowl. See, I'm mixing it all together with the meat to give it a little, putting it, all the flavors together. And I'm going to add the garlic. Here we go. Just a little bit, about a half a teaspoon. I do a kind of a large half a teaspoon, but go ahead. I can't cook without garlic. This recipe doesn't call for garlic, but my God, you gotta have garlic. Every recipe deserves garlic, except for maybe when you're baking. And even then, no. Garlic bread. Here we go. Here we go. And we want a little Tony's. For our family, we have to have a little Tony's for the kick. Gotta have a kick. My family's always running around eating kick food. Spicy, spicy, spicy. And then now we have the curry. I know, messy hands. Here we go. We want 2 tablespoons of curry. And I get a little generous with the curry. I'm gonna go, because of the amount of meat that we've got in here, I'm gonna go 2.5 tablespoons. And then the allspice. Allspice is wonderful, but it's not always easy to find. So if you don't have allspice, what you do is, I have a teaspoon here. About half a teaspoon. Okay, there we go. You can make allspice by putting cloves and nutmeg and cinnamon together in a little bowl and some black pepper. And there you have allspice. It's not perfect allspice, but it is that flavor compound. And here we go once again with the hands. I cook with my hands. Okay, we're gonna get all of this mixed together. There we go. I do wash my hands. Although I haven't this time, but I've been just cooking with the ingredients, so I haven't gone away and messed up my hands and then come back. But I have messed up the bowls and whatever. Okay, now I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, and it is now Jamaican utaki time. We're going to pour about 5 to 6 tablespoons of oil in here. It seems like a lot, but we've got a lot of chicken to cook. So I cook by feel, but you guys can measure if you want to. I don't have a problem. You're gonna get this heat, you want this heat high. You want this heat high, you wanna get this oil hot. Hot, 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 hot. A little hot. Jamaican. I'm Jamaican the chicken. I gotta wait for the oil to get hot. You're gonna wanna hear the sizzle. You're gonna wanna taste the sizzle, feel the sizzle, hear the sizzle. Come on, let's get it together. Now the reason I love cooking other foods is because I love the flavors of the world. Period. The flavors, the people, the cultures, everything. And food, I call it all souls food. There's not just one soul food, and I love Jamaican food. I love jerk chicken. I love the curry. Now there's also a red curry. This is a yellow curry. It's not as spicy, and since I add the Tonys, it's got a kick anyways. But the red, oh my God, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. Your stomach has to be ready. This is wonderful stuff. But yes, I love cooking from everywhere. I'm a first generation American, and I'm a French and Italian, which I got that naturally from my aunt who cooked everything from scratch. She'd start every morning. She'd cook the pasta, she'd cook the sauce, she could cook everything. My uncle grew the vegetables, he made the wine. They were so amazing, and that's where I got my love for cooking. I followed her around the kitchen everywhere. She called me her little talking box because I'd ask her, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And I started cooking from the time I could hit the top of the stove. I love to cook. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands again because I have to peel the potatoes. The potatoes need to be ready for when this meat is done browning. All that browning, it needs to be completely brown, but it's going to take a minute for it because of how much is in the frying pan. It's going to take a minute for it all to brown together. And here we go. This is a nice white potato. You can also use russet. I've been trying to teach my children how to cook, my grandchildren. Oh my God, I do have a couple of grandchildren who enjoy cooking. I have a a 10-year-old who made his own crepes recently. Isn't that amazing? I couldn't believe it. But I would love to leave. I have a whole suitcase of recipes. I don't know if they'll keep them or throw them away. Hopefully they'll keep them and try a few. But I have recipes that I have brought back from Israel, Alaska, the Midwest, and the South. Oh my God, I love Creole and Cajun cooking. That's how I actually got started going into different cultures, was Creole and Cajun cooking. That was my first love away from, and I could add my French and Italian to Creole and Cajun, because that's actually part of her heritage as well. So, here we go. Let's get these. Gotta get the meat turned over, so all of the pieces get nice and brown on all of the sides. And here, taking a little longer to brown than I thought, right? But that's okay. To each its own time. Every time is different. Never expect that things are going to be so exact and so perfect, because there's always things to consider. The stove, just everything comes together in different ways and in different times. But it's all the same. It's all okay. Now you're going to cut these potatoes in slices that are about a quarter inch thick. Now this is where you get a little more precise in what you want to be doing. You don't want to make them too thick, because then they won't, you'll have the potato won't cook properly. There you go. Now I have to keep looking down because I have to watch my hands while I'm slicing. Now, here we go. This is what really makes it. The coconut milk, the coconut cream or milk, whatever you want to do. It just cuts into this flavor. And I also add a little chicken broth. And I add it to the can of coconut milk, so that there you go. This is nice. And now back to, we are making these potatoes cubed. So you're cutting them lengthwise. Once again, about a quarter to a half inch. And then you're slicing them down into cubes. There we go. And we're going to be adding these potatoes. As far as my daughter had asked earlier, my favorite foods, it's so hard for me. I love every food. I really do. I know people say, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Well, I will say I'm not a big oyster fan. And I make eggplant parmesan, but I'm not a big fan of eggplant. But other than that, I gotta say, if I had to say, oh, I have to cook and I have to eat, and what am I going to eat at home? It's going to be spicy Italian. That's my lifeblood. That is my lifeblood. And after that, there's, well, I already did that in the previous, in the trailer, the shrimp. We've got, oh, I make garlic noodles. I'm gonna be braggadocious right at the moment. I make the best garlic noodles there is. Time to add the potatoes. Now the potatoes are going to thicken up everything, okay? That way any of the extra oil, the extra anything, it's going to, the potato mellows everything out. And truthfully, I would like to have a little more potato based on how much is here. But we're going to be putting this over rice. So I never feel like there's enough potato. I don't know why. I love potatoes. I love potatoes. You know, I worked in a potato field many years ago when I was a young housewife. My husband and I, we needed money and we worked in the potato field. And I still love potatoes, even after seeing all those hundreds and thousands of potatoes. I worked in a green bean factory also back in those days. But I still love green beans, even though, oh my God, you would not believe the things that come down the conveyor belt along with the green beans. Okay. Going too far. Here we go. Now we add a little pepper, a little black pepper, and a little salt. There we go. Here's the salt. There we go. Not too much salt. I don't like to over salt because some people want a lot of salt. Some people don't want any salt at all. And so I just put a little. With potatoes, the potatoes soak up salt. They always do. You make potato soup, the salt, you just keep adding salt and adding salt and adding salt. There's never enough. And this is going to be similar to that, but I'm going to let everybody, put their own salt in. Now, voila! We put the lid on and we wait for the potatoes to cook. And voila! It is done. It is ready to eat. We are going to plate this up. Let me get a little, here we go. Let me get a little bit of rice. There we go. Oh, look at that nice fluffy rice. Look at that. Okay. Yep. Came out perfect. Okay. There you go. You don't want too much rice because you have all this potato. This is such a small spoon. But here we are. Here you go. Some chicken and some potatoes. Ooh, and a lot of nice sauce. Yum, 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 yum. Here we are. Here you go. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you for joining the Wandering Chef today. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. Don't forget to subscribe below. Bye.